first thing I wanted to do, because LVT is such a large portion of our market, is to bring in John Wu. John Wu is the president and CEO of Novalis Innovative Flooring, one of the largest manufacturers of LVT in the global market since 1984. And I'm going to grab John off the floor right now, and we're going to have a quick Q&A on the LVT market. Mr. Wu, good morning.
Morning, Greg. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you very much for joining us today.
No, I love to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
I wish I was seeing you in person, but this is going to have to do.
Me too. Yeah, it's been a tough 2 years for all of us.
It has.
I have to cross the border, which is a little more challenging. So.
And you're in Toronto, is that correct?
I'm in Toronto. We are digging out of a big snowstorm.
Okay.
What you guys have down south in the southern states, we have a foot and a half snow. So.
Well, John, I really appreciate you joining us. And as everybody on this sales meeting knows, we are a distributor of NovaFloor products,
Yes.
which is one of your brands. And with LVT being now a $5 billion market, over 70% of the entire resilient market at this point, I thought it'd be a good idea to get an update from you on where the LVT market is and what you see in 2022. I had mentioned earlier that the Novalis has been around since 1984, one of the leaders and first entrants into the global LVT market.
Yeah.
And Novalis has been doing business for 37 years. Novalis started by your father, correct?
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. So that started business in 1984, and then we were the first manufacturer out of China that produces LVT.
Okay.
And 1988, August 8th, as most of you know, 8 is a lucky number. We picked that date. And the very first container that left China of LVT was made by our family. So we're quite proud of that. And so we've been in it, from day one, at least from China point of view, from day one. So I joined the family business in 2001, exactly 20 years ago. And my sister joined, around the same time. And so we've been running the business. Dad is still very, very, that's retired, but active still, calls me a lot and asks me about, tough questions. He's 90-year-old, but he still asks me questions about the business.
Well, that's great. That's great.
Yeah, we're very clean family business. So, yeah, I think we never would I have thought when I joined the family business, LVT would grow to this state. But I think what everybody can kind of see is how LVT has evolved. It's probably a product that evolves the fastest, right? Other people has likened it to the iPhone evolution. That every year there's a new model that you have to get. So LVT kind of give you that feeling that if you don't have the next great thing, you're gonna miss the boat. So. Yeah.
John, if I recall correctly, the way you guys got into the business was you saw the old black and white peel and stick tile in a home center, and you said, well, we can do that, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, a family is it's a trading company to start, right? So Dad used to travel to US a lot, and one day either he visited Home Depot or Lowe's or Menards, one of those stores, and he picked up a piece of peel and stick vinyl tile, black and white checkerboard, and say, this is made in Taiwan. And so, China's opening up, it's going to be cheaper to made in China. Let's go open a factory in China to try to make it. So that's how we all got started. A piece of black and white checkerboard tile that we thought were easy to make. That took years to produce, really, to learn how to make it, because black and white is difficult to print, because you don't want the black get to the white or the white get to the black, right?
Yep.
And then checkerboard means, you can't be out of square. If you're out of square, you can't lay those floors anymore. So, so those are two very challenging things that we try to do. So, yeah.
Well, speaking of challenges, we've been faced with a LVT market that's growing at a 20% clip for as long as we've seen it in the 2020s. Yet in 2019 and 20 and 21, really due to the pandemic, we saw some challenges with the supply chain.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about what you see as far as the supply chain and how we might come out of this, if we may come out of this in 2022?
Yeah, so supply chain has really, two issues right now. I mean, let's talk about freight cost, right? Ocean freight and availability of freight, and that has continued to be a challenge because let's face it, U.S. infrastructure for port is kind of old, and so it can't keep up with the rate. American consumer has a insatiable appetite for buying goods. And that's really what's driving all this, right? Everybody's buying more things either online or at store while they're staying at home. So the demand for containers from ocean freighter is much higher. So it haven't been able to keep up for the last 2 years. Everything we see right now from analysts is that it's not going to get any better this year. Maybe slightly, but it will be towards the end of the year, right? Where things normalize a little bit. Cost is not looking like it's coming down much anytime sooner, and it feels like the logistic company, the freight companies are making good money right now, and they haven't been making a lot of money, 2-3 years before that. So they're trying to squeeze it and milk it for as long as they can.
Sure.
So that is a little bit harder. So we all know it's a supply and demand, right? So if the demand for goods reduces a little bit, we hate to say it, due to inflation, right? Or due to other pressure, then maybe the supply will be able to keep up a little bit more, right? And there are more supply coming online from some of these freight forwarding companies to put more into the ocean. And so from a freight point of view, I think it will be another year before it normalizes, right? And then for raw material point of view, again, it's a supply and demand. We're demanding more goods, so all the commodities are getting more expensive, and hence you're seeing a higher demand and higher costs in those. It's going to take a little while, also for people, because it's a global issue in some way, because it's the Great Resignation, right? Where people don't want to work is also creating a shortage of labor at the port authorities. They literally have nobody trying to unload, right? I mean, trucks will be lining up for days to try to pick up a goods. So it's, yeah, there's no. Well, I hate to say it, it's not a positive answer in that regard, but I think we've been able to navigate that, and together we can navigate through that again. Yeah.
Okay. Part of the issue that we saw in 2017 and 2018 was the tariff issue.
Yeah.
What do you see as far as the position of the tariffs moving forward?
I wish I really have a magic 8 ball that I can tell you that. Many people have asked me this question over the last 3-4 years, and I keep predicting the wrong things. So honestly, there's really very little we can tell. There are discussions about it, and anything would, even if it's going to let down, it's going to be, reduce. It's going to be stage by stage, product by product, just like when they were putting them on. It is over a year before so many, nearly all the goods are now with tariff. So what we have done is to try to circumnavigate those issues, right? Try to give us another location where there's no tariff. That's why you see Dansby and Linden Plus now is more price competitive, because we've been able to establish a Vietnam factory to produce those goods so that we can navigate through those tariff issues. So as we add more capability into our Vietnam factory, we'll be able to move more goods over there. What we want to do is provide that flexibility when it comes, right? So we need to be nimble, and those of us who are more nimble are able to survive these global economic issues that we see. So
You mentioned your new Vietnam factory, where Dansby and Linden Plus is being manufactured. Yet you also have a manufacturing factory domestically. Do you see your domestic capacity increasing with domestic manufacturing?
Yes, we do. Now it's it's every investment requires some payback period. So I'm now trying to get my ROI for my my new investment. We just been start shipping earlier this year, and trying to bring up the capacity and generate efficiency out of the production line. But yes, the plan is that this is not the end of it. I mean, the capacity that we have here is not a lot, and we can foresee getting, we're definitely in the plans for looking at what is the next investment, because we also don't want to invest in the same thing over and over again,
Sure.
right? Because like we say, we want to now invest in iPhone 15.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that's kind of what we're trying to do, is to develop technology that iPhone 15 would come. So yeah.
And does domestic manufacturing start with rigid and then move into glue down, or how do you see that?
There's yeah, I think with the machine we have right now, we're making just SPC, rigid core product. But the next product that the next investment we come, we're also looking at whether the glue down product is a critical part or not, because the volume as we see, right? I mean, I know we're all in the commercial business, or whether specified commercial or mainstream commercial, glue down is an important product. But when you weight the two, I mean, rigid core is still SPC is still the fastest growing category. So that's why we invest in SPC first. But we understand having short lead time, having that nimbleness of doing commercial glue down business through a local manufacturer, that's going to be one of the future for our company as well.
You mentioned being nimble. One of the things that stands out to me is your commitment to inventorying in the U.S. Where
Yes.
we've been successful with Novalis is you have a ton of inventory in Georgia. Um,
Yes.
so that can benefit us as we look at the market in 2022 and beyond.
Yeah.
For our customers who are listening, what do you see as the forecast um, in 2022, and then moving down through the 2020s as far as the LVT market? Do we expect to see similar growth, greater growth, less growth? What do you see?
I think there's still a lot of runway for LVT and SPC category in particular. So I think for the next 2-3 years, you're still seeing double-digit growth, high double-digit growth that's coming.
Okay.
Again, I was saying, never would I thought LVT would be 25% of the market, the total flooring market. I mean, next year is going to exceed carpets, right? Just imagine that. But couple 2-3 more years of 15-20%, it's going to bring it to the previous carpet volume, right? So
Sure.
I think that's where it's going to hit, slow down a little bit, right? The way I always look at it is not about just how big the market is growing, is how much shares we're grabbing from others.
Mm-hmm.
That's always the way. There's room to grow, not only organically because the market grow, because more consumer wants it, but because we do it better than others, so we can capture other people's market share. So I think together we can do more of that for sure. Yeah.
Great. We have surfaces coming up in early February, and at many times at surfaces we see new and emerging technologies. Do you see new and emerging technologies on the horizon that you can talk about with Novalis?
One of the things you guys been probably hearing a little bit is digital printed products, and so that is something we've been looking at for 4 or 5 years. It hasn't reached a state that we think can become viable for making LVT yet, but it's getting very close. So you probably heard a couple of investment already in US, and we are in close discussion with these other machinery manufacturers to try to make sure we are also close behind, and we want to invest in the right technology. That's probably the number one thing, right? It's easy to jump into it and then not be able to produce. We talk to multiple manufacturers. We kind of have a preference, so I'm sure we'll get there. And digital printing technology is an important one. We're developing also kind of a what we call ultra low gloss products. Something that's very European oil wood look. So I think that is a nice collection that we can do residentially. So I think these are some of the newer technologies that will come through in the next couple of years, and we can't wait to bring it on into the market.
And then, in addition to technology, Novalis is known as a leader in style and design. I'm certain that the black and white tile is not coming back anytime soon, but do you still see, the grays and versions of grays and browns being popular, in the next several years? What are you seeing from a style and design aspect? Because as we know, a lot of the style and design starts in Asia and then starts to move its way east.
Yeah, it is. Grays will still be there, but it is migrating to a lot of lighter tones. We call it the blondes. So the
Yeah,
blonde color shades are coming in for sure, especially for high-end homes, who wants to get a fresher look. Gray is getting a little too. As gray was getting warmer, you remember last 2 years, gray become grayish.
yeah,
Now it's moving it, transitioning into even lighter shade. So I think the blondes is definitely a good trend. Then maybe exotic is coming back a little bit, right? And some of the darker exotics that would come through, or maybe acacia will come through again. So we all know this goes into circles, and then with a little twist every time.
yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I know that corporate stewardship is important to Novalis, and we've been all very impressed by your commitment to sustainability. Can you talk a little bit about the importance of sustainability to Novalis and what you guys have done to reduce your carbon footprint?
Yeah, I mean, this is really really an area that's near very dear to our heart, and my dad really is the pioneer in it. And since the beginning, he said, we do a lot of business, but we want to make sure what we do is right for the people and for the earth, right? So
Hmm.
when we built our second factory in China, that was in 2008 and 9, right? We had a chance to start from a green field. So when we start building that factory, what we did was we want to make sure it's ISO 14001 certified right away, which is environmental certification. So we were one of the first LVT factory that could achieve that at the time. So I think that's a great statement to what we do. And then I've taken it personally as a mission for us to be to make this the most sustainable LVT in the market. This is and there are some other good players in the market as well, but we want to make sure we can get there with them and be as good as them, if not better than them. So we, as you can tell, we have a lot of certification in what we do in the products, right? From indoor air quality to transparency, right?
Hmm.
And then to further reduce the carbon footprints, what we're looking at right now. I mean, what we've done 3 years ago was to put up solar panel in our factories. So that has really significantly reduced our carbon footprints. You can tell from the EPD, the Environmental Product Declaration we created. We did one 2014 and we did one update 2020. And the 2020 clearly show we've done a lot to reduce our overall environmental impact. So I'm quite proud to do that. And you talk about our factories in US that we built. We took an old building, right? We took an existing warehouse building and turned it into a factory, right? We didn't want to do a green build because, as we learned, making a new building would cost so much more in terms of the environmental footprints, right? Now you're getting new raw material, new steel, right? Transportation of goods, etc. To build that building. Why don't we take something that's available in the area? So that's why we pick a building in Dalton. It was not an abandoned warehouse, but a warehouse that nobody's using yet. So we managed to get that and build a factory. So that alone has reduced our time to market, right? As to bring on the U.S. manufacturing line, as well as reduce our overall carbon footprint. So I think these are all great things. Now we're beginning to encourage our guys to start getting electric vehicle.
Yeah.
So, and try to put we're looking at putting a couple of electrical vehicle charging station in our parking lot to encourage that. So
Hmm.
yeah, just the little things we try to do. Yeah.
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 Well, part of what impresses me is commitment, to the different verticals that we do business with. You have commercial products, you have for the commercial market, you have residential products for the residential market. A majority of, well, 65% of the U.S. market with LVT is on that residential side,
Yep.
and the remodel replacement market. What advice can you give to independent retailers who might be on our trade show floor to grow their business in 2022? Suggestions as far as how can they be more successful with LVT in 2022 and beyond?
Yeah, I think LVT. Again, I've never thought LVT would become a product that people actually come in and ask for, right?
Mm.
LVT used to be an afterthought, but now consumer comes in and say, "Hey, do you have luxury vinyl?" Right? Can I get that LVT, right? So I think that is a great trend. I think to all the retailers and our partners out there, continue to train your salespeople to understand the consumer's needs. I think that's the number one thing. Where do they want to put it, right?
Hmm.
And how do you provide a solution for them? And we are fortunate that SPC LVT is one of the most versatile flooring you can get. Literally you can use it anywhere in the house, right?
Yeah.
So as you find to solve that first problem for them, you can now extend your business further into other areas of the room, right? It may start out in the kitchen, and then it goes all to the living room and bathroom. It may start out in the basement and then go upstairs into the living room again. So,
Sure.
so I think that solving the need, building the trust with your consumer, understanding with the customer, understanding what that customers need, and building that trust will allows you to grow the business and introduce other things that are great about LVT to the consumer, right? So it is really very versatile and one of the most durable, easy to maintain floor you can set. I can attest to most of us now all have some LVT in the house now, and then
Mhm.
again it's not something we've ever thought that would happen, but you know, yeah. So we're very fortunate to be in this position. So
Well, John, you lead a great company. I appreciate your humility and just the quality that Novalis brings to the marketplace. I would appreciate it if everyone visits the Novalis booth on the third floor and sees Ryan Default. I think Nate Hohenstein is going to be there. You might see John there. But we're running a special on the design centers, $199 for the design center and only $25 for one of the waterfalls. It's a great way, as John had indicated, to attract consumers into your market and see a high design, high style, high quality product. John, thank you so much for your time today. I wish you a wonderful 2022, and thank you so much for your partnership.
thank you, Greg, and thank you everyone, and wish you have a great show, and look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.